Well, I've finally done it. I completely ruined one of the things I tried to make for this channel. This heaping pile of stickiness is not failed peanut butter fudge, it's failed white chocolate raspberry fudge. Valentine's Day is coming up, so I thought it'd be a fun idea to make some pink colored fudge to fit the theme of the holiday and stay seasonally relevant on YouTube. Cool idea, right? Keep watching if you want to find out where this derailed. I started off putting 2.5 cups of sugar and a stick and a half of butter in a medium saucepan. No water yet. Not until I infused it with raspberries in the smaller saucepan. That's 6 ounces of raspberries and a cup of water over there. I heated that up to a simmer, just enough to get the color and flavor out of the raspberries. Once it reached that point, I strained the juice into the largest saucepan so I could eventually bring that to a boil. A lot of fudge recipes use evaporated milk, so to account for that, I added half a cup of powdered milk to the white chocolate chips that this would be mixed into later. My understanding is some spooky things happen to milk proteins at high temperatures, and this is gonna get real hot, so that's why I didn't just put it in the pan with the rest of the stuff. I had this pan over medium-low heat and I was stirring constantly in order to form a proper emulsion with the butter, I guess. Once the butter was melted, I left that on the burner to bring to a boil while I went on to do the thing that ruined this fudge. Okay, so the main thing I wanted to know is if I could swap out the marshmallows that I typically use for fudge with meringue, and the answer is no, it doesn't work. Here I was adding in half a cup of powdered sugar slowly so the individual sugar molecules get interconnected in the protein matrix of the egg white and blah blah blah. Details don't matter right now because this ended up sucking anyway. Once I got it to the point where I thought it looked like it was supposed to, I went back and waited for the boiling syrup to reach 245 degrees Fahrenheit. Now that I was able to monitor it more closely, I turned the heat up a little higher and it started looking real angry, so I turned it down and waited patiently. It finally hit the mark, so I took this 245 degrees syrup over to a bowl of whipped eggs and poured it in and whipped it on the highest setting without doing anything to stabilize the bowl. Don't try this at home. It isn't worth burning yourself over. Use marshmallows like a normal person. But still, don't burn yourself. I really thought that this amount of syrup would cause the egg white to cook and stiffen up significantly, but it didn't. I added the white chocolate chips after because I wanted all the heat of the syrup to transfer to the eggs. I think I accidentally figured out a good recipe for a cake frosting. I mean, seriously, if you're crazy enough to try to replicate this, stop here and use it for that. Maybe scale it down a bit though. Once those chips melted, I poured this out into a 9x13 pan. I let it sit out on the counter until it was just a little above room temperature. Look how unfudge-like it is. In a last-ditch attempt to fix it, I put it in the oven at 225 degrees Fahrenheit for like 2 hours. And that's how we got here. And of course putting it in the oven didn't work. This is so bad. On the bright side, it's not completely inedible. It's just not what I was going for. That's what I do. It's pretty hard to actually ruin something to the point where you can't eat it at all, and it's kind of fun to do stuff like this. It's basically white chocolate raspberry flavored caramel. It'd make a good dipping sauce for cookies or whatever you'd think would pair well with such a thing. Unfortunately, I don't think it's good enough to give away to anyone, and I've been eating terribly over the holidays, so I'm going to shove this in the freezer and forget about it for a while. We are inclined to try this mixed with ice cream, but 1 week into the new year isn't the time for that.